just in case to play, it'll catch up. All right, team. We have 2 weeks left. That's crazy. We're like in the home stretch and we've like gone through the Super Bowl and some like crazy things that like make eating healthy really challenging, which is okay. Like it's okay to indulge on days like that. Our goal is always to stay like 80 to 90% on track and consistent with what we're doing. And if we can do that every day, that's going to give us a cumulative success for the week. But if we're only like 90% consistent for one day out of the week, obviously that's not going to get us the results that we want. We always want it to be an average for the day and then an average for that whole week. So we are able to really see results. Allie's hopping in too. So some things I kind of have been talking with people in their one-on-one check-ins. The first thing is with the 6-week challenge is our goal here is to build healthy habits. It's not necessarily to like lose 10 pounds in 6 weeks. If that happens, amazing. But typical weight loss, eating something the way we're eating is going to be anywhere from a half pound to a pound a week. And that is if you are like eating to a T the way you're supposed to be eating, which is like those whole foods, paying attention to our points, not under eating. A lot of times what happens is we have like a hard day and we under eat and fall off, and then we're trying to make everything up at the end of the day. And it just doesn't feel good on our body. So again, just trying to stay consistent with our eating throughout the day. And then the other thing I kind of mentioned in an email last week was if you're not seeing the results that you feel you should be seeing and you feel like you're really on your game, is trying to sub out some dairy and some fruit. We all love fruit. I love fruit. I eat it every day. But if you are using fruit as your main source of carbohydrates for 3 meals a day, you're not going to see as much change as if you were doing fruit for 1 or 2 meals a day and then vegetables in those other meals throughout the day. So that's an important swap to kind of start incorporating now that we're halfway through that, our challenge, halfway through the 6 weeks, is let's start subbing out some of the dairy and some of the fruit and adding in more veggies. And that will really, really help us. And you'll also find like now that we're halfway through, the amount of food, like sometimes we may still feel hungry. And that's when we want to, again, start subbing out some of those starchy carbs and adding in some more veggies, because you can eat a lot more veggies than you can rice. So when we first started out on this journey, we were all a little bit intimidated by the amount of food that was on our plate if it was just veggies. And then as we kind of like moved forward, then we're like, oh, okay, I'm kind of used to what I'm eating now, but now I'm feeling hungry. So if that's what's happening, that's when we want to start. Okay, now we can sub out some of that rice or potatoes and or greens and vegetables to kind of help combat that. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. So those are a couple things that we can add in if we're not seeing the results that we want to be seeing. I would say let's add in some veggies, swap out a little bit of fruit, swap out a little bit of the dairy, and just make sure that we are staying true to the points. Now, if you are somebody who feels like, Kristen, I am eating vegetables at every meal, I have not had a cheat day, I have like stuck true to this plan, I feel very confident on every day, all day for the past 4 weeks, and you're not seeing any results, then I want you to go on the InBody, send me over your scan, and I will readjust your points for you, and we can drop it down a point or two. But I don't want to do that unless we really truly have followed it to a T 100% for 4 weeks and haven't tried subbing those vegetables in there. And with that being said too, like, again, this isn't like just it's not like a juice cleanse where you're like, all right, we're doing this for 4 days and then we're done. our goal is for you guys to be able to pick up habits from these 6 weeks and then be able to carry it on and see like the long-term results that you're able to hold on to for more than 6 weeks. 6 weeks is cool because you're like, wow, I look great. It's been 6 weeks. But if you can't hold on to that for continuing on, then like you did the work for nothing. Like maybe you learned a few things here and there, but like if you're gonna let go of it and not hold on to the habits that you've kind of like picked up, then like we really need to kind of like hone in on what our goals are. So try to think about that too as we are heading into these last 2 weeks. Like stay with it, keep trying new things. That's what this 6 weeks is for, is like kind of a trial period of like what works, what makes my body feel good, and like what could I do different. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. Any questions on that? That was kind of a lot. But we got someone else rolling in. Has anybody had to like sub different foods in and out based on like hunger or being stuffed? Or you kind of feel like you got a groove now? We feel kind of in the groove. All right. Cool. All right. Well, moving on from that then. The last thing I want to touch in on is the leaderboard and how we are getting points. So the biggest weighted points on the leaderboard is going to be for that body fat percentage lost. So I noticed majority of people are logging their body weight, but don't forget to put in your body fat percentage. It's on a separate point under data. So it's all under the data page, but there's body weight, and then there is body fat percentage is going to be something separate. So make sure you're putting that body fat percentage in, because if you don't, then your points are going to be really low. Even if you just lose like 0.5% of body fat, it's going to be huge for somebody who didn't put it in versus did. So make sure that you're updating the body fat percentage in there. And then make sure that you are always checking off your daily task. There's either a heart or say that it's done, because at the end of the week, I get a compliance percentage based off of participation in the app. So you are already getting a percentage based off of what you are doing throughout the week. So make sure you are doing that. I add in points for the Zoom meeting that is separate from the app. And then keep posting like participation into the Facebook group or our app. Always helps as well. And then at the end, in 2 weeks, the winner is going to get a $100 gift certificate to Kusamama for guys and girls. So there'll be a $100 gift certificate for that. And then there'll also be a $50 gift certificate for Born Primitive for guys and girls. So we can get some new clothes because we looking good. So those will go to the leaderboard. And then we'll have some other fun things too to trickle down in the second and third places as well. But those are going to be the big first place prizes. Cool. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Kristen, are the points cumulative? So do you accumulate them? Or
Yeah.
is it just per week?
Yep, they should be cumulative. Some people's points like haven't moved much, and they haven't moved if they haven't updated body fat percentage in the app, because then it won't change the amount of points at the end of the week.
Even though, like, if you've posted and things like that, it still won't change?
That will all get added in at the end. So I'll go
Okay.
kind of like tally everybody up at the end. Good question.
Oh, okay. Understood.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, totally. I love seeing everybody's pictures of what they're eating. It's so good. Is there anything else that would help you guys? Like, would like a full day of eating help? If we like did something like that, or you guys kind of feel good here?
We feel okay as of right now. Bree does all the cooking. I'm the taste tester, so it's good for me, but I think we're getting I think we're getting the hang of like the measurements and things like that and eyeballing
Yeah.
and not having to measure as much.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I like love about it. And I was hoping like some people would kind of start to feel that way. Because I just remember when Scott and I first started doing this, like it felt like so chaotic trying to like do the math and like figuring out how much of everything it was. But by the end of like once we got like 2 to 3 months in, we didn't feel like we had to be crazy like measuring to the gram or measuring cups. It was like, okay, we eat this pretty consistently. We can eyeball it on a plate and be pretty spot on. And that's what's nice about carrying it forward. Like we still have to meal prep and stuff, but you get more efficient as you go on.
Yeah, definitely efficient with the meal prepping. It doesn't take as long as it, initially did.
Yes.
Initially, we were in the kitchen for hours, but now it's pretty quick.
Yeah, I think the first week Scott and I did it, I was like, my feet hurt from standing in our kitchen so long. I was like, this is an issue. But
Yeah, we didn't know. We were like, this is takes up the whole Sunday, but now it's quicker, so it's
yeah,
not as bad.
good, good. I'm glad. Cool.
Well, and then I just had a question because like today I made one of those like mini breakfast casseroles like individual, but it
Yep.
was I would say 5 points where I'm usually eating 4 points. So then for
Yep.
lunch I did 3 points instead of
Perfect.
4 points. Is
Yep.
that okay
Totally.
for the most part?
Yep. Totally.
Okay.
And if that doesn't work for you, you could always like split it in half. So like
Right. Okay.
take a
Yep.
serving of like your breakfast and be like, okay, this was like a 2.5 point meal, and then like add to it
Okay.
if you wanted to do it that way to kind of like
Okay.
round it out so it's the same.
Okay. Yep.
Whatever works for you. But yep, that's definitely how you could
Okay.
go. Yep.
Okay.
Good question.
One more question.
Yeah.
So if we sometimes we get busy and don't eat lunch, is it okay to lump it into dinner and have a larger dinner?
For sure.
Or
That
is timing like a thing?
timing is not like a huge issue unless you're like trying to like compete for something and like you're really trying to be very precise. I would say like if you're missing a meal and you want to combine two, that's totally fine. But if you're missing like a whole day and you're trying to eat like 10 points for dinner, that could be a little bit aggressive maybe, and you would want to try and space that out a little bit. But if you're like missing lunch and you're putting two together, that's totally fine.
Okay, perfect. Even the two together, sometimes I was like, I can't breathe.
I
But
know, I was like, and it could be a lot too. So if you are combining those two together, you can kind of like play with what it is that you're eating.
yeah,
You don't feel like you're eating like entire like tree or garden.
yes.
That's a good question though. All right, anything else, crew? Did we survive the Super Bowl or did we indulge a little bit? Was there temptation anywhere?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But not like it's like, oh, I had like one and not four or whatever,
Yeah,
because
totally.
like if you only see that stuff like once or twice a year, I mean that I
Yes.
mean, so I mean that's the point of this is to like know how to just like make smart choices and then
Yes,
you can and not
absolutely.
deny yourself because then you're gonna want to have six instead of
100%.
yeah.
100%. And then when you have like 6, 7, or 8, it makes it so much harder to like get back on track. You're like, all right, well, I'm jumping off the deep end. I'm going in. Like, let's get it. And then it like makes it really hard to like kind of hone back in and like get back on track. But it's so good when you can kind of like find that control. And what's really helped me too is just knowing like how good I feel when I'm like on. And like when I fall off, like I feel like garbage. And I'm like, man, I don't want to feel like this again. So like just remember like how good you do feel when you're eating like this or however like what works for you, and try to hold on to that because it is worth it and it does pay off in so many other aspects of life. I feel like when my nutrition is on, like I'm a better human, I'm a better mom, like I feel better, I have more energy. And I mean, that's the reason nutrition is at the base of that pyramid because it is the most important. So good. Any other questions, team? We'll keep it kind of short. Cool. All right, crew. Well, I am gonna go through like our check-ins from the day, so I'll get back to everybody tonight, and I will upload this meeting to YouTube and send the link out to anybody who missed it and would benefit from it. And if you have any other questions, shoot me a message. But let's go. 2 more weeks. Finish strong, but we're gonna keep it going. But I'll be letting you go into the wild. Thank you guys for hopping on tonight. I know it's like the beginning of the week and it's been a long day, but it's good to kind of hear a little bit of feedback and answer any questions.
Curtis?
All right. We'll see you guys later.
All right,
Thank you.
bye.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Hey.